Hello YouTube. Well, as you know, I lost my backdrop, so that's because in the last video we took the hood off this car so we could pull this engine. So I started preparing for that, and I've also, you know, that we've already pulled the radiator. I didn't make a video for that, sorry, didn't start early enough. But we still got a hose attached, which I want to go ahead and remove that hose that goes up to the reservoir and also to the block. That entire hose right there. And just so it don't hit that radiator up front, that evaporative radiator. Now, so what I've done is I've kind of numbered some things because I've never taken an engine off before. I have no idea how to do this. So this is a first for me, and when I was doing that yesterday, as I was kind of looking at what I have to do to take this engine out, I got really discouraged. I can see that this is going to be hard. So our power steering, we've already pulled our power steering gearbox. So, but unfortunately, you still need to remove the lines so you can detach that from the vehicle, because your power steering hose lines are there. So those have to be removed. Then we have all these vacuum hoses right here. All those vacuums that run all the way up along here, and then basically I think they probably all end up right there. So I want to make sure I keep that all straight. I have, we're going to have to get rid of the booster hose, because that comes right over the crossed the engine, so that just comes apart right there at the right there. So that has to come off. This is your main electrical line right here, that runs to all this, you know, here you see I've got that like labeled number 1. So, but on this side of the car, I think that's about the only thing on the driver's side of the car other than the fuel lines. You're going to have to, this one here you might be able to keep because it does stay on this side, but that one there is, yeah, it looks like fuel actually, and what I notice is that that fuel runs through that air conditioning line. So I'm guessing that's the way that they keep it from vapor locking. So then that runs back over to here and eventually right there. So we're going to have to remove this one, right, the one on the top here. The one that's got this red, that's going to have to come off. This has a bracket right here, then that. So these will be pulled out of the way. That'll allow us to get to these electrical wires that are in there, and then we can start removing all that electrical and hopefully peel that back. We also have the linkage to deal with. So this is your linkage on this side, right, that runs down for your pedal. So there's your thing. And another thing that I noticed is that, you know, this is an old car, so all these electrical wires have been baking on this engine for all those years, and so they're going to be, the coating is messed up. You see that it's removed right here, right? But the wires themselves are not hard and brittle, so right here is okay. But I noticed the ones up here in front, like these ones, these wires here may have a little bit of an issue. But let me go to the other side here. Actually, there's more to that side, but I wanted to come over here and just kind of show you. So I've got that like 1, 2, 3, right? Now 3 is actually that one right there, right? 3 goes on to that. And then you see that one says C. We'll come back to that. That's a vacuum line. So that vacuum line goes up into the firewall, so we're going to have to remove that vacuum line. There's that linkage over there that we were looking at. All right. So, but then you see I have these A and A because I'm going to disconnect it right there. You can see where the disconnect is. And I have a B and B. So that'll get those vacuum lines disconnected. But anyways, 1, 2, 3. Then we have 4, 5. And yep, that's a 6. That's that big one there. 7, which is that top one. And 8. If I just peel that over, that's 8, which is that top one right there. 9. This is probably really anal. Everything's probably just going to fall into place. But there's 10, which is this one on the right there towards the hose. And then 11. But we're going to document it because the routing of the wire also. You notice this wire goes up and then goes down. Someone's already done this before, I can tell. And then it goes under. I don't know if I can even see that, but I'm trying to document it as best I can. But it goes under and then goes up. And then across, right? And that's where we're going to take it apart there. And then it will go all the way to the firewall and we'll be able to peel that back. All right, now, I think that I should remove this tank, this expansion tank first. This looks like it's fairly easy to do and it'll give you a lot more room. Right, and that's the reason why I labeled that one number 12. Okay, so I don't think I need to remove the windshield wiper tank. That should be good. But we do have more down here. We have number 13, okay? 13 goes down to our smog pump. Is probably what that is, or I'm guessing. We'll see. And then we have our starter, our main, electrical starter line there. And then that kind of actually comes out on this side. And it's tied down by that. I don't know if you want to remove it from here, because it also goes into that box right there, I think. So it may be just as easy to take it off our, I don't know if you can see it down there, but my starter's just sitting there. So we might just take it off from there. Also on the alternator we have something, I don't know if you're able to see it or not, but in the alternator we have we've got to take that electrical cover off, right? I think the first thing to do is to take this snap ring off, be the easiest thing. Okay, so that's what we got. Alright, that is now released. So really this thing comes out and there's an O-ring, and then there's your sensor, which is completely shot, as you can tell. So this needs a new sensor. Everything you touch all the way through this car is going to happen like that. Okay? So it's a good thing that that came apart. We'll figure out how this comes apart, if it does. I don't know. It should. Yep, it does. And it also has an O-ring. There it is. And so that's like how that holds together. Oh, here we go. And this O-ring is on here. Okay, these are just 8mm. There's 3 of them. There's a washer. We'll disconnect this hose. disconnect this hose if I can. Now let's see what else is connected to it. Okay, so on the bottom of that tank, you've got your clamp for the bottom hose that goes to that radiator that we were talking about earlier. So I'm going to remove that. Alright, so we've got the tank out. There's our hose right there. So it was that simple. Now I put the screws back in. Right, so we don't lose them, and I put the tank back together, and I kept this sensor out. Probably too bright. I kept the sensor out. So, but now what we need to do is I need to get. I should mention that number 13 here, right underneath that tank. There was a plug that we can plug into right there. Alright, so we'll disconnect that there and then pull that down with the pump that goes all the way down underneath there somewhere, which you probably can't see. And then we have to disconnect our line from the alternator there, and then from our starter. So that's the next step, is to I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these here. Right, I can't do it with one hand, so we're not going to do that. And we're going to disconnect that number 13, so let's go. Okay, this is that number 13 up there underneath the radiator reservoir tank there. So all you do, obviously, on this is you just pinch these back, and then you'll be able to slide that out. And there it is. I've marked my other side. I marked this side as 13, and then I designate it with M. And then I did the same thing here on this side, so I know that this plug matches that plug. Alright, I still need to pull that wiring harness from the alternator. So, and then that should take care of that. And then we have this one last thing over here, which is this cruise control actuator. So it's got a line coming out of it right there, that line, and it goes all the way and goes underneath and comes up into the firewall or something. So we're going to find out where that goes. So I found that this line that comes out of the back here, this actuator line, goes all the way up to the firewall, just like I thought, and there it plugs into the firewall. But you know, you have to undo a bunch of wire ties and things. I think it might be easier just to disconnect this actuator from the engine and then just set it off to the side. So that's what I'm going to do.